see some tribal wars and fight. Who knows better us do better? A source of collective insight may not be exposed to education, but surely know from right. Africans with African pride, fighting to attain our right. One more shedding of blood for this nation to move forward. Africans with African pride, fighting to attain our right. One more shedding of blood for this nation to move forward. Say, hey, we need a motivation. Teach I to be self-sufficient. No one to depend on no one for attainment of my brain. Oh, this world's all my calling. Children crying white squad tears. Hunger rampant, harvest plenty. Ooh, oh, Africans with African pride, fighting to attain our rights. It's so good. Praise the Most High God every day. With your whole heart desire. Lift him higher, lift him higher. Holy, 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 holy.
Hello, I'm Jesse White, Illinois Secretary of State.
This is Danielle Mitchell with Average Black Girl.
Hey, this is Don from Our Voice.
This is Jeff Badu from Badu Tax Services.
My name is Agwedima.
My name is Olivier Kamanzi.
This is Chateau.
My name is Eme Adibe.
And you're listening to Progressive Mind.
Progressive Mind.
Progressive Minds with your host, Alinko, on WGHC 98.3.
It's every Tuesday night from 7 to 9 p.m. on WGHC 98.3 FM.
This is Senna, host of Progressive Minds. You can also call me Alinko. Join me every Tuesday between 7 to 9 p.m. Central Time. We'll be coming your way with topical issues that pertain to our community, issues that relate to you and I. Join the #1 community building show in the entire world as we seek to uplift our community. If you're outside the range, just download the TuneIn app on Google Play Store and search for WGHC. If you're an Apple user, just go to your App Store and download WGHC app. You can also ring 563-999-3221 to listen to us live. Search for Progressive Minds on Facebook, like the page, and turn on your notification. You can also catch us on YouTube by searching for Progressive Minds. Progressive Minds, to whom much is given, much is required.
Lyra and Star, they are with me. They surely comfort me.
Hello, lovely listeners. Thank you for tuning in to the Progressive Mind Show. You're logged on to WGHC 98.3 FM, your voice, your music, your station. We are global on our website, which is WGHCFM.org. iPhone users can download from the App Store, and then Android users can download TuneIn app and search for WGHC. If you see that 7-day trial thing that pops up on your screen after download for Android users, just go on top, look on top of your screen, ignore the X, ignore that, and then you can access the app. We are also available 24/7 on 563-999-3221. Today, we want to talk about dealing with a menace in our society, which is gang violence, gang and gun violence. I am sure there's a difference in the two, right? The expert is here. She's going to talk to us. Kina Collins, we are privileged to have you in the studios of WGAC.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. And this is the show where we try to build a community topic after topic. Mm-hmm. And so you're most welcome. We know your line of work is definitely in conformative with the Progressive Mind Show and the WGHC organization in general. Mm-hmm. And coming up this Saturday is also our festival, which we'll be telling you more about. And so if you're on Facebook, like Progressive Minds, share the page so your friends and our friends can all partake in this discussion. Before we go into the conversation tonight, Captain Mike is on the phone to give us the health, fitness, and weather updates. Captain Mike, how are you today?
Greetings. How are you?
We are well. Greetings from Chicago as well. I hope all is well with you wherever you are right now.
Yeah, it's going really well.
I hope your plane landed
safely. Greetings to your guest, too.
Sorry?
Greetings to your guest, too.
Oh, yeah. She says hi.
Hi. Hey, Mike.
All right. Well, you have a nice night out there, 64 degrees at O'Hare, mostly cloudy. It's going to get down to the 50s, a little chilly, but guess what? It's going to warm up this week and into the weekend. It's going to have it into the high in the 70s on Wednesdays and Thursdays, but the 80s are back. as I like to say, because I was a kid in the 80s. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, a slight chance of rain, but for the most part, a really nice weekend. As far as your sports tonight, Cleveland, we have no score in the third inning. They're playing the Cubs on the north side. Baltimore is on the south side. They should be starting any time now. Houston at Golden State. The Golden State Warriors have a 2-1 lead over Houston. That starts at 8 p.m. Cleveland Cavaliers evened up the series 2-2 with a 111-102 win over Boston. And Saturday, for our soccer fans out there, our Fire will be in Orlando. As far as health, last week we talked about bad fats. This week we'll talk about good fats. Mm-hmm. What are the fats that are going to keep us healthy? Well, the reason fats keep us healthy, they are the last part of the diet to leave our digestive tract and provide safety and lining. They help us feel full longer and prevent us from overeating and oversnacking. I got that problem. They give us energy. They promote cell growth and organ protection. Now, what kind of fats are we looking at? Polyunsaturated fats. They decrease the bad cholesterol in our diets. Look for those in fatty fish, flaxseed oil, and liquid plant-based cooking oils. Monosaturated fats are located in our nuts and seeds, and avocados. Get some avocados in there in our diet. Our saturated fats have look for full butter, cream, cheese, and full dairy. Now, look out for packaged and prepackaged items. Those usually contain the bad fat. When you're looking for a good fat, look for whole, unprocessed goods. So that is our health report for tonight.
All right, Captain Mike, thank you so much for that brief but very informative information. I hope you had a good flight to your destination.
Oh, definitely. And you guys have a good show. I know you will.
As usual. Thank you so much for your contribution again. Mike. We hope to see you in the studios next week.
I'll see you next week.
All right. God bless. All right. That was Captain Mike. We would take a short break and then continue the discussion this evening. Stay tuned to WGHC 98.3 FM. Your voice, your music, your station. This is Alinko, your host. We shall be right back.
Chicago. Join us for WGHC's first annual street festival on Saturday, May 26th, where we are promoting unity, peace, and love in a community suffering from gang violence. There's free entry, so make sure you tell a friend. There will be food, live music, a DJ spinning competition, live performances from local artists, and of course a jollof competition. Meet us there in Uptown Chicago at 4554 North Broadway from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. We encourage you to wear African attire. So come out and have fun with us.
This is a serious time, violence and crime, and a beer gun thing the youths them up on their mind. Them bust it when rain a fall. You know, sister, them no care, them your youth. Bust it all when sun a shine. You know see a pure juvenile. Yeah, I'ma lock the big guns out the street. And then I bust it up. Where them get it from? Nobody know. Them father was a killer. Well, I see him so them grow. I know me can't sleep. No matter how me try to do it, me can't sleep. Up here gunshot a beat. Me can't sleep. No matter how me try to do it, me can't sleep. Up here blood in the streets. Them a youth on the play. No. Every single day. Them have it on them waist, and if you talk too hard, then them shoot off your face. Bust it up. Tell me what I want, me I beg gonna keep it calm. Cause the real know are real, and I kick up and I go on, it's like a gun storm. Me can't sleep. No matter how me try to do it, me can't sleep. Up here gunshot a beat. Me can't sleep. No matter how me try to do it, me can't sleep. Up here blood in the street. Bring back Jamaica in in all the time when everything was fine. All the try, some a try to show love. It seems like the rest of them blind. All rude boys, they must have gone. Put on the Glock and the 9. Cause you don't kill Miss China Mass Brown and turn the whole place in a ghost town. Me can't sleep. No matter how me try to do it. Me can't sleep. Up here gunshot a beat. Me can't sleep. No matter how me try to do it.
That was Roman Virgo. He says, me can't sleep no matter how me try if you do it. With all those crimes and violence in the city, in his city, in our city, in our society, me can't sleep. You know, if you're a positive vibration person, you can't sleep. You should not be able to sleep when you see atrocities and bad things going on in our society. And so we have this beautiful lady here who is championing the cause to tell us about what she's doing and how she's championing that cause. But before the tune, I'm sure you heard the commercial, which is regarding the festival coming up this Saturday. Big up, big time. This is the first ever WGHC annual street festival, and is the baddest. Is going to be wicked and wild. A lot of local artists from reggae to Afro to urban music. They're all going to come. You're all going to be performing live. There's going to be live music, food, a lot of entertainment, raffles, giveaways. So bring your family, bring your friends. Even if you have to travel into the city of Chicago just to see this, it will be worth your while. All right, it will be between Wilson and Sunnyside on Broadway. It's 4554 North Broadway. All right, you can't miss it. If you look for the uptown area in Chicago, you can't miss it. Lots of food. Make sure you are here this coming Saturday for the WGHC annual street festival, promoting the station, promoting peace, unity, and love in the gang-prone community. Enough of me, enough of WGHC. We're here with Kina Collins. Kina Collins, you are the founder and CEO of Chicago Neighborhood Alliance. Mm-hmm. Before that, you grew up on the streets of Chicago.
Yep.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, first off, thank you for having me on. This is beautiful. I can definitely feel the positive vibes. I'm like ready to dig into this. Yep. I grew up on the west side of Chicago. Austin is last year was deemed as one of the most violent neighborhoods in the city of Chicago by way of homicide and typically through gun violence. And it's gained that reputation just throughout the years. But I think that while we always talk about what goes on in Chicago from that perspective in that spectrum, there's so much beauty that also comes out of the west sides and south sides of the city of Chicago, which has always kept me grounded and connected to civic engagement and wanting to give back to the community. So yes, I always like to rep that I'm from the west side. We oftentimes don't get invited to the table, so I'm so glad that you decided to invite me.
Would you say your upbringing, before I continue though, listeners, if you are on Facebook watching us, you see three people here. There's one behind the scene, which is Gio, the master Gio, who is helping with the 1 and 2s, producing us tonight, as he always does. In front of your screen here is another lady to my far left. She is Gail Hall, who is assistant co-host. She's also helping WGAC with producing and other things. And in the future, who knows, she would be hosting the Progressive Mind Show. So Gail will be helping us tonight for with this discussion. But I'm also interested in what gave you the motivation into going into what you're doing now. I also know that you are the chairwoman for the Women and Girls Act Illinois. Yeah. Before we go into that, what drove you? Is it the upbringing on the west side of Chicago that motivated you into going into this community activism?
Absolutely. If people really know the history of Chicago, they know that the Black Panther Party was founded on the west side of Chicago, the Illinois chapter.
We don't know. So tell us about it.
It was founded, the Illinois chapter, the base of it was found on the west side of Chicago. Fred Hampton is from the west side of Chicago. Okay. So when we talk about just Black liberation and just youth in particular and civic engagement, we have to talk about those youth in the 1960s and 70s and that culture that was kind of fostered on the west side of Chicago and does shape a lot of youth activism currently, right? That thread never left, that history never left. And so, yeah, I have approached in this era that we are in. I think that we need to speak boldly and honestly about a lot of the issues that are happening, just not even in Chicago, but in the country in particular. But yes, I joined the gun violence prevention and criminal justice reform movement in the fall of 2015 after the video of Laquan McDonald was released. For some of the viewers who may know, Laquan McDonald was a 17-year-old who was shot 16 times in his back by a Chicago police officer who is standing trial currently. The case was hidden for 400 days. There was no charges filed. It coincidentally happened to fall during the mayoral election when all of this was supposed to come out. Long story short, I got involved with some of the direct actions and participated in the Black Friday shutdown that happened downtown Chicago. And it was just such a powerful movement of the youth coming together from both the west side, south side, and north side of the city of Chicago. And we said, we're not going to burn our city to the ground, but we are going to hit the city where it hurts, and that's the pockets, right? So we demonstrated our constitutional right to an economic boycott, and we succeeded. You know, we got a new police chief, we got a new state's attorney, and hopefully we get a new mayor.
So, okay, you've gone fast forward to some of the things I want to talk about. I still want to take you back.
Yeah, take me back.
I'm an old school person. I like to do old school stuff. What high school did you attend in Chicago?
I attended Von Steuben Metropolitan Science Center.
So I'm sure a lot of your
on the north side
alumni are listening.
Yeah.
And which of these community activists or leaders inspired you? I mean, I know there are a lot of them. You mentioned how the Black Panther Chicago branch, the Illinois branch, was formed in Chicago. So in the midst of all these community leaders, are there a few that you say you looked up to that even before you joined this group in 2015?
There's so many, but you know what I will say is it wasn't just one person, right? I think that when we talk about community, which is something that I like about Progressive Minds, is that it was a community that raised me.
Right.
So as great as it was to hear about Fred Hampton or other great civil rights leaders like Dr. King and other people who came forth, what shaped and molded me as an activist was tangible leadership. So people in my community, faith leaders, my parents, of course, who always, taught me the importance of community.
That is what I was trying to go to. Your family, your parents. Do you have siblings?
Oh, I have 6 brothers and sisters.
Oh, right. Oh.
So 2 brothers and 4 sisters. So I have a huge family.
Great.
It's 7 of us.
And you all grew up together?
We all grew up together on the west side of Chicago.
I'm sure you grew up in the early 90s, right? I mean,
yes.
You know how growing up then was so different? Even the kind of music, the R&B, the hip hop, the rap music. The vibe was different.
It was different.
And it was very communal too. People were nicer.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If you were not, so you were in high school, what did you major in? So from high school to college, right?
Yep. I went to Louisiana State University and I majored in sociology.
And if you were, whilst you were in school, were you active in sports or any social activities?
Yes. I was a part of the TRIO program, which is basically a nationwide program. I was a Ronald E. McNair Research Scholar. I was also a member of I am a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. I participated in Black Student Union, so NAACP, which I'm still active in. I had a good list, healthy list.
So if you're not doing all those things, is Kina one of those people who on a Friday or on a weekend check in the bar or get to the club and dance off her stress?
Listen, I said I went to Louisiana State University.
Okay.
It is the party school. We had Mardi Gras embedded in the academic calendar.
Right.
So maybe I had a little bit more fun than I should have had. But no, yes, I went to LSU.
You love sports?
Yes, I love sports.
NBA, football, soccer?
So football is my top sport that I like to watch.
Favorite athlete?
Seahawks. But I would say out of football, I like Walter Payton. I'm from Chicago.
Okay.
Okay.
Basketball.
Old school. Basketball. Favorite athlete from basketball, Tracy McGrady.
I thought you were going to say LeBron. Everybody says everybody.
Nah, I'm old school. You said I was raised in the 90s. I'm old school. Tracy McGrady, T-Mac, of course, Vince Carter, Allen Iverson. Those were the people who I grew up with.
Don't mention Allen Iverson is when I hear his name, shivers go through my spine because
I mean,
the type of
one of the greats.
Yeah,
and then we can't forget another West Side native, Isaiah Thomas.
Yeah.
One of the greatest.
Yeah,
to do it.
Yeah.
So
okay. And did you participate? Did you play any of them?
In high school, I played volleyball. I ran track.
Okay.
I wasn't the superstar athlete.
I'm guessing your favorite food would be jerk chicken.
How did you know?
Seriously, I just guessed. I don't know. It just came out of nowhere.
I love Caribbean food.
Jesus.
I love Jamaican food.
I'm the prophet of the house today. Seriously. I mean, I just looked at her and just figured, just thought.
Give me a
jerk
nice
chicken
plate
came to my
of
mind.
cabbage and plantains, and I'm ready to go.
Okay, let me see if I can guess Gail's favorite food. I'm thinking you would like. No, you don't. I don't think you would like sushi. This man would like sushi. Gio would like sushi. So I don't.
Sushi's good though. Sushi's good.
Oh, okay. Gail, you might be maybe fried chicken.
Nope.
Okay. Soul food.
She looks vegan to me.
Okay. I am vegan.
Oh, you're vegan. Okay. All right. I didn't get this one.
She has a nice, healthy complexion and glow, and your skin is even.
So that's what vegans get.
Vegans.
Okay, I'm going vegan then.
Go vegan.
All right. Okay. So we've come this far with siblings, family work. Now you got it into Chicago Neighborhood Alliance.
Mm-hmm.
What was the motivation of it, and what do you do with that?
Yeah, my motivation behind that is as I was stepping into the gun violence prevention movement in a more official capacity and going to Washington, D.C. and speaking to people federally and locally, I realized that there was not a brave space for young Black and brown youth, who we're experiencing this in high capacity, everyday occurrences, whether it's directly or indirectly. And our voices are ultimately being shut down and shut off when it comes to funding for our programming, when it comes to the ideas to implement solutions to these problems. And so I thought, I'm going to move back to Chicago and I'm going to start my own organization. Mm-hmm. So it's no more, I want a seat at the table. I want to build my own table and bring my community with me and as a collective.
Okay. So what do you do with Chicago Neighborhood Alliance?
So currently, as we're building this out and developing it, it's fairly new. Mm-hmm. It started last summer.
Okay.
Working with my board of directors, but the gist of it is that we're strategically in 5 different components: urban gun violence, diversity and inclusion, women's rights. We are trying to, like I said, as a collective, build platforms for those communities that oftentimes their voices are lost. And one way that we typically do that, or the most powerful way, in my opinion, is civic engagement, right? So we go into communities and we want to teach young activists that it's not just important what you're voting for up and down the ballot, but that you can be on the ballot, right? So being the true representation of your community, your state, or your city is important to teach.
How are you getting help with that?
So we do have people who are funders, of course, that love the idea. Mm-hmm. And then also just the network that I built through the gun violence prevention movement from other official orgs who kind of help us navigate through the nonprofit sector and, all the rules with that. So I have a good network.
Okay. And how was it taken off? Do you think it's taken off with the kind of expectation you had for it?
I think that I think now is a better climate because we see the students from Parkland, who just experienced that mass shooting in Florida. They stepped up in a way and made their voices heard in a way that people are starting to understand, well, we should probably listen to young people now because not only do they, have manpower, but they have voting power soon. Mm-hmm. So I don't think that it took off as quickly as I thought that it would, but the steam has definitely picked up and the interest has picked up. Definitely.
In Chicago, people say it's a crime-prone community, especially people live in a suburb and they don't want to have nothing to do with the city, more so with the west and the south side. Mm-hmm. All they hear is, they're going to shoot, that strong stigma. Mm-hmm. Now, can you... Is there, let's help clarify something. Is there a difference between gun violence and gang violence?
So I think that there is a difference between all of it is community violence. Like that's exactly what it is. I think that it's a red herring to just pinpoint violence that happens with guns on gangs, right? Because we know that not to be true. We see that with Rakia Boyd. We see that with Laquan McDonald, that it's also police brutality as well, right? And so I always like to shift the narrative and the conversation around, the facts. And the facts are that, yes, we have community violence, and in the same way that we need to find solutions for that, and that needs to be reprimanded and looked at. I think that we also miss the mark when we don't talk about the excessive use of guns by police officers in Black and brown communities.
You want to talk about that?
Yes, we can talk about that.
Yes, please go into that, if you may. Because a lot of times the conversation is very much zeroed in on this kid shot that kid. Some a few people jumped some people. This today I had some gunshots actually when I was driving. So it's more about people, individuals carrying out the act.
Right.
So yes, let's talk about police maybe overly using force.
Right.
When they're not supposed to.
Yeah, I definitely think that. So, the term the black on black crime. I always like to tell people that doesn't exist, right? Because we don't call it white on white crime. We don't call it Asian on Asian crime. Like I said, that's a red herring, right? That is a way to deflect from conversations like the one that we're about to have about police violence. Community violence does need to be rectified, but I think it's a proximity factor, right? Like whoever you live next to, that's who you're going to commit crimes against. And the truth is that criminals are going to be criminals, and that we need police officers to do their jobs. We don't expect, and I think a lot of parents who have had to bury their children because police officers have gunned their children down don't expect someone who we think will protect and serve us to come into our communities and do that. Right. And so Chicago has a notorious history of doing that. And actually, after the Laquan McDonald video was released, the Department of Justice came into Chicago and launched an investigation in CPD and found that, there's some racial bias going on. There's some impropriety running rampant. Right now, currently in CPD, only 27% of crimes get solved. That's an issue. We have over $500 million in settlements that have to be paid out by Chicago Police Department. But yet and still, we're building a $95 million gun police academy, but all the high schools in Inglewood are shut down. They're shutting down high schools and grammar schools on the west side of Chicago. And so it's just like not even just an issue about police versus community. This is a fiscal issue. Right? We know that violence is directly parallel to education. So when we see that tax-paying dollars are going to paying back victims of excessive police force versus keeping schools open, that's when I have a problem with it.
It's interesting you mentioned black on black crime because I think the narrative has been bought already.
Yeah.
It's settled and people just keep using it. So I think it's good we have to go into. Is it the myth? Is it like from what you just said, it looks like it's non-existent. I think somebody just made, or people just made that thing up, black on black crime, as though blacks just love to commit crime on black people. But from what you're saying, it's like, well, blacks live in black communities,
exactly,
and they have to survive. So who's next to commit a crime on to survive?
Exactly, but it's not only that. It's the rates of African Americans killing other African Americans or black folks killing black folks is proportionate to other races that live in different communities and live in the same race. So if you are for example, if you are a white person that lives around 98% of white people, the person who is most likely to commit a crime against you is a white person.
Right.
So this idea of black people are inherently violent, hyper aggressive, serial murders, that's just not true. That's a myth.
Excuse me. Okay, so your organization, Chicago Neighborhood Alliance, is seeking, vehemently to address some of these issues that you mentioned, and you touched on, police brutality and some of these things. But in all fairness, because we don't have a representative from the side of the,
right.
So we will not go a lot into details in the future. We probably wouldn't have the superintendent here.
That's great.
So you and him can share the stage, so we can have a very cordial dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but from what you have done so far, it seemed a very daunting task. Okay, what keeps you going every day with this huge burden on your shoulders? You're a young lady.
Yeah. Well, I think that this fight is it's not even necessarily just a burden. I think it is the responsibility of our generation, right? Gun violence prevention and criminal justice reform is our civil rights issues in this generation. When you have over 35,000 people a year who die by way of gun violence, that is something we need to take care of, right? And we can't just sit by idly. And I think what keeps me going is that there were so many people who came before me that I get to live out and do what I want to do because they sacrifice, all in the sake of social justice and trying to fight for an equitable society.
From what you just said, can we comfortably say, or can we just say that we have a menace in our society that we have to deal with?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, and this is what it is.
Absolutely.
Okay, and I like what you said, but it is the community's responsibility.
Yeah.
To start dealing with this. Parents. People can start forming associations.
Yeah.
I think it also can start from parenting. Talking to kids.
Yeah.
Stay away from trouble. You don't necessarily have to argue with the policeman when they stop you. Some little things that we can do to protect ourselves, to protect our communities. Because the reason why I said that don't argue is, say the worst happens and the policeman who's not supposed to use excessive force uses it, right? If it doesn't end well, 9 out of 10, it's who is at a detriment is the civilian, right?
The victim.
The victim. And so, yes, we can go to court. There can be settlements. You said some of them is stalled right now.
Right.
They haven't paid it.
Right.
Who is suffering? The family, the victim.
I'm going to push back on that, though.
Please.
I'm going to push back on that because I think that too often has been the narrative that generations have taught black and brown children. And the truth is that you can, yes, sir, no, sir, do everything that you are supposed to do. And we have seen people get gunned down.
Absolutely.
And so really what this is issue is it's an accountability piece, right? Like I shouldn't have to tell my nephew or my nieces to compromise their integrity or who they are as a person if their rights are being violated in order that a police officer may do with them what they will, right? An abuse of power.
Right.
So we need an accountability check. And this by no means is me saying disrespect police officers, right? Like we need them to do their job. And just with that, I think that there's also, like I said, an accountability piece from the community that, this is taxpaying money that police officers like to create their salary. It is disheartening that they come into the community and not just police officers who don't do their jobs, come into our communities and gun down people, innocent people.
The reason why I mentioned this is I saw 2 clips. I think one incident was with Jean Wycliffe. I think in LA he got arrested, and I watched his attitude and read his attitude, which is an affirmation of what I just said. Excuse me. Sorry, I've been struggling with cough and cold whole of last week. I'm still trying to get out of it.
It's the weather change.
It's the weather change, okay. And he literally said, well, he was arrested wrongfully for wrong identity, basically. And then he compromised. He didn't say anything. He, cooperated with the police people. They took him to the station, checked him out. Oh, okay, it's not you we're looking for. And then he went his way. And then his advice was, look, if you happen to be in a situation, stay calm. Don't say nothing. Don't do nothing. Just go through it. If you're innocent, you'll be cleared. I mean, hoping that that's the case.
Right.
Now, I watched Chan's video too. He was pulled over. He was calm in his car, and he started doing I think live. He was like, okay, I'm pulled over. I don't know what's going to happen, but yeah, I'm just staying calm. So I think the police came over, checked him out, driver's license, the usual thing, and then they let him go. So again, his also demeanor and attitude is basically, you know what, there's no need to maybe do anything than what I've just told you. Just stay calm, cooperate, and hopefully it goes well. That's why I brought this up. Okay.
I mean, I think that that's a valid argument that people make, but I also think that it's a scapegoat also, right? Because when we see people get agitated at the fact that they're being profiled, because let's call it what it is, it's racial profiling, when they get beat up or they end up dead or they end up in jail, people automatically say, well, you shouldn't have gotten angry. Well, actually, I shouldn't have gotten pulled over. Okay. So, that's pretty much the perspective that I'm coming from.
Good. Now, that argument, again, that is why maybe we should have had a police force personnel here, right?
Yeah.
Because if you say, maybe you should have gotten pulled over, right? Someone will say, well, they have the authority to pull you over anytime they feel like it, right? You see them run the lights. It seems like they are the law, they are the authority, and they are above it sometimes because they run the light, And so, if they have the authority to pull you over or to question you, should you also try to say, "Yo, you don't have to. You shouldn't have pulled me over"? I mean, is there?
I mean, I think that. So.
Okay, you're not a police personnel.
Right, I'm not the police personnel.
So we'll leave this one. We'll drop this one, and then when we have them here, we can have
let's keep that dialogue going.
Excellent. Okay, I want you to talk about the Women and Girls Act, Illinois. But before that, we have a few comments on Facebook.
Okay,
I want to read them out.
Yeah,
and then we'll probably take a break, and then we'll come back.
Okay,
sounds good.
That sounds great.
All right. Okay, we have. Jocelyn Akofa here. She says hi. Empress Mausi is also here. Naomi M. Romaine. Big up yourself, Naomi. Big up yourself. Asibi Ayimpoka Azaz. Azaz, say hi to your beautiful sister, Laurentia. Laurentia Azaz. She's a medical doctor who's visiting from Ghana. A beautiful, smart lady. She's in Maryland right now. Thanks for coming through. I know that you are doing well with your sister. I also hope that you enjoyed your light soup today. Remember me when you cook your next meal, all right? KM Fred says, keep up the great works. Thank you, Apostle. And then Maribel Ado is also here. Big up yourself, Maribel. She says, God bless you. God bless you too. God bless you, Roger Fard Coleman. He says, it's the best side, which is, I'm sure he's referring to West Side. And then Doreen Do Fiajigbe, big up yourself, my sister. Maya Elaine says West Side, and then
hey West Side,
and then Abudan Ponsa is watching. Big up yourself. Maya says yes, no charges filed due to them suppressing evidence due to voting time for the mayor. Okay, that's her view. And a few people here. Gil Fraser says thank you, brother Senna, for this program tonight. Thank you to Dr. Gil Fraser for joining in the discussion. Big up yourself. Jumaine Bates, big up. And Chantel McDonald, big up yourself. Bernard Biney is watching. Johnny Woods also join us. Big up yourselves. Thank you for tuning in. Please share the feed, all right, so we can all learn from tonight's conversation. Nicholas Kitchell says, Kina, you are so brilliant. You are an inspiration.
Oh, thank you so much.
All right, on that note, we'll take a short commercial break and come back with a discussion. Stay tuned. We shall be right back.
I was lost inside the desert fortress, circling round my head, but thanks to God now I made it out of there. I was just another sheep inside the belly of the beast, but thanks to God now I made it out of there. Guru Guru Meche Meshe, Jaya Mefa, Hallelujah. Guru Guru Meche Meshe, Jaya Mefa, Hallelujah. Guru Guru Meche Meshe, Jaya Mefa, Hallelujah. Guru Guru Meche Meshe, Jaya Mefa, Hallelujah, Hallelujah. This ain't lucky, no. Can't you see the hand of heaven is upon me, This ain't lottery now. This is 40 days and 40 nights. Sick and you shall find. I say more muscle to your hustle, more butter to your bubble, more blessing to the talika. May God give you all the barika. More muscle to your hustle, more butter to your bubble, more blessing to the talika. May God give you all the barika. I was lost inside the desert, vultures circling round my head, but thanks to God now I made it out of there. I was just another sheep inside the belly of the beast, but thanks to God now I made it out of there. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Guru Guru Meche Leshe Ayamefa. Hallelujah. Guru Guru Meche Leshe Ayamefa. Hallelujah. 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 I see clearly now. Sun's outside and my night has turned to day. I see clearly now. I used to be lost and God showed me the way. I see clearly now. All I see is blessings every time I look back. I see clearly now. Oh, hallelujah, Meje Baba Mojuba. I was lost inside the desert, vultures circling round my head, but thanks to God now I made it out of there. I was just another sheep inside the belly of the beast, but thanks to God now I made it out of there. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
This is WGHC 98.3 FM.
Chicago. Join us for WGHC's first annual street festival on Saturday, May 26th, where we are promoting unity, peace, and love in a community suffering from gang violence. There's free entry, so make sure you tell a friend. There will be food, live music, a DJ spinning competition, live performances from local artists, and of course a jollof competition. Meet us there in Uptown Chicago at 4554 North Broadway from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. We encourage you to wear African attire, so come out and have fun with us.
WGHC 98.3 FM. Your voice, your music, your station. Follow us at facebook.com/WGHC 98.3 FM to watch all of our live streams. iPhone users can download our WGHC 98.3 FM app in the App Store. All other users can download the TuneIn Radio app or visit tunein.com. You can also listen by phone. Dial 1-563-999-3221. Visit our website at www.wghcfm.org.
Chicago. Join us for WGHC's first annual street festival on Saturday, May 26th, where we are promoting unity, peace, and love in a community suffering from gang violence. There's free entry, so make sure you tell a friend. There will be food, live music, a DJ spinning competition, live performances from local artists, and of course a jollof competition. Meet us there in Uptown Chicago at 4554 North Broadway from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. We encourage you to wear African attire, so come out and have fun with us.
Welcome back to the Progressive Mind Show. Here is where we build our community conversation by conversation. If you're on Facebook, you should be seeing this. This is a beautiful poster of our festival this Saturday from 11 to 9 p.m. You don't want to miss it. If you're not on Facebook, please look up Progressive Minds now. You can check out this beautiful page, this beautiful poster of our festival coming up Saturday here in the Uptown area between Wilson and Sunnyside. Music, reggae, live reggae band, local artists performing, lots of food, lots of raffle and giveaways, plenty people, different kind of people. Come and mingle with people and come in and see different sides of other cultures, and also help in promoting peace, unity, and love in this community that has been suffering with gang violence. I personally know a Ghanaian who lost his child, an adult actually, here in this neighborhood through gang violence. He was shot in the head, brutally killed in this neighborhood. I go to the same church with him, this brother who lost his son. It was a very sad moment for the Ghanaian community. We also know some kids who have been shot. We went to the alderman's office. Actually, the alderman told us, he showed us a map of this community and how some kids cannot walk from one street to the other.
Right.
Like just to play basketball, they have to actually be escorted with some adults, and they have to go a very long route just to be able to play and then come back.
Yeah.
And we walk around these communities and we don't see nothing, but we don't literally see gangs walking around and shooting, but there are things going on, there are things happening in that society, in this community, which is inhibiting even kids to live a free life. If you can't cross one street to the other, it's not necessarily like that in other neighborhoods. Kids are able to roam, ride your bike everywhere, especially in the suburbs. So this is a menace in our society, and we as an organization want to deal with it. So we are calling on the public to come join us coming Saturday to make this event a success. We're still talking to Kina Collins, who is the the founder and CEO of Chicago Neighborhood Alliance. We are going to be moving to the next of his project, which is Women and Girls Act, Illinois.
Yep. Illinois Council on Women and Girls Act is coming.
Yeah, okay. You were the chairwoman.
Yes.
What is that all about?
So the Illinois Council on Women and Girls Act was basically birthed out of a conference that I went to here in Chicago called Galvanize Chicago. It's an initiative under United States of Women, which is an initiative that former First Lady Michelle Obama started right after her husband was leaving out of office. But we used to have on the federal level a White House Council on Women and Girls. But as the Trump administration came in, they disbanded that. And we thought, well, since they took it on the federal level, we will bring it back on the state level. And essentially what we hope to do with this council is serve as an advisory council to the General Assembly and the governor's office on any policies that directly impact women and girls across the state of Illinois.
When does it start?
Well, it passed through the House and it passed through the Senate, and it's headed to the governor's desk. So when the governor signs this into law, it is effective immediately. So it will be starting soon, as soon as he signs it.
And this is the first of its kind.
Well, we had a commission on the status of women, but it's not quite like the Illinois Council on Women and Girls. So really it is. Our council would include transgender women and girls. They would be included on our council. And our council will promote equal access to reproductive health care and education. So it's original.
Yeah, statewide, yeah?
Statewide.
How different is this from other women organizations and institutions?
Well, to be honest, we're not reinventing the wheel, right? Like the job of this council is to bring all of these amazing organizations together that are already doing the research, already researching the policy and lobbying on behalf of women and girls. We want to bring everybody to one table. Currently, there's no nucleus in the General Assembly for any policy that directly impacts women and girls. And so this council would serve as that nucleus. So really it's a convener versus like something that is reinventing the wheel. And we have amazing official partners that just have stepped up and publicly have just backed this whole movement that we're creating.
In the past, a movement like this was started, but it did not succeed. So, I mean,
what specifically?
well, I think it was it General Women Council or General Women Assembly, something of the sort in this state. I was when I was researching.
We did in '97.
Okay.
We had a commission on the status of women.
Okay.
In the state of Illinois, which was an executive order.
Okay.
So that basically means that the governor signed it off as an executive order, which would go into effect immediately. Ours is a law. So HB 5544, House Bill 5544, once the governor signs it, it is law that we have to have this council.
And you initiated this whole thing?
Yes, with a group of amazing women who just cheered me on the entire way. I was really the person to connect everybody, but everybody has been doing this work already.
So when this becomes law, this council includes all women, not just black women.
That's right. This will include all women.
Regardless of your status, your color, your immigration status too.
Yes. Your immigration status.
Okay.
Look, you're putting me on the spot. Listen, we will advocate on behalf of undocumented women in the state of Illinois. And as somebody who has convened this council, I will definitely advocate on behalf of undocumented women because they've created to the fabric, which is our state, right? Every day they are contributing, whether it's the workforce or education system or what have you, to the fabric of what is our state, and we cannot neglect them and leave them out.
And essentially, again, when it becomes law, all these other women organizations and institutions will fall under this umbrella.
That's right. So we're excited. It is scary to some people in the General Assembly who push back to this happening because we are essentially going to be a watchdog group in the General Assembly.
I was going to say that. So you would have a seat in the General Assembly at Springfield. Is that
so it would be an advisory council.
Okay.
So we wouldn't necessarily, the General Assembly seats are like for the state reps and the state senators, but we would advise them, right? We would write semi-annual reports and recommendations on policies that are coming out. We would present them with the research, and we would also give our recommendations on what would improve these laws. And the way that we hope to do that is not only just analyzing policy, but also programmatically making this a statewide initiative that include things like STEAM, that includes things like healthcare, childcare, economic opportunity for women. Intersectionality is one of our impact areas. How can we be fully inclusive? And so we want to host programs, panels, forums, summits, and build these platforms and make it more of an education piece versus just a policy piece. Because for me, the way you shift culture is not by writing policy. We have a million great laws, but people don't follow those laws. But if you educate people on the process of why this is happening and, how you can contribute to it, that's how you shift culture. And so we hope to do that with some male allies. So hopefully y'all are ready to join.
Yes, why not? Hey.
Join in.
We part. Look, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, that's his picture up there. He is the first president of Ghana. He's the one that got independence from the British. Okay, and he has, among a lot of his quotes, famous quotes, he has one that everybody in Ghana knows, which goes by this: if you educate a woman, you have educated a nation.
There you go.
And if you educate a man, you've educated an individual. So it goes to tie into what you're saying. I mean, the advocacy for women, which says that if you empower women, you've actually empowered like a whole community, a society.
Exactly.
Because you are the ones that built our community, our homes. You are the one that builds us. So
women are the first teachers to children.
Absolutely.
Right.
So we can stand by as men to see you embark on a project or a fight without supporting. Right. Automatically we are in it.
Yeah, and I think, just statistically speaking, over 500 women ran for office this past primary season, and over 300 of them will be on the ballot. So this is the most women that have ever run and have ever ended up on ballots. We're talking federally, on the state level, citywide. And here's the facts. the facts are that the social and political landscape is getting ready to change in America, and we can go with that flow and prepare and posture ourselves to uplift and amplify the voices of women and girls, or we can continue to have this struggle, which is unnecessary. And so I've learned so many great things by traveling all throughout the state, listening to women, and why they think this council needs to happen.
Exactly why this council needs to happen. What did you see? What pushed you to say, okay, I need to start, what brought the vision?
Well, for me, I think obviously we know that in the past previous election, there was just a full out, in my opinion, assault and attack on women, right? And we saw it in an egregious level that we've never seen before in this country. And actually, I'm happy that it happened because it shook us awake, right?
Can you be specific with some women that happened to?
Well, I'm just saying the presidential election, for example.
All right.
When we look at the debates, I think the Huffington Post, I believe, they counted how many times Hillary Clinton was interrupted in the debate.
There was some bullying going on. It was obvious.
And I mean, this goes on in classrooms, this goes on in boardrooms, this goes on in churches, this goes on in universities. When is enough enough? And my enough was that last election. And the truth is, this work has already been done, right? Women have been doing this for decades. I'm new to the game compared to some of the women who have championed, especially in Illinois. But for me, it was, once again, how do we bring everybody to the table? Conservative women, Democratic women, liberal women, women who are lawmakers, policymakers, and women who are domestic workers, right? That it runs the gamut. We're not a monolith as women and girls. How do we bring those voices to the tables and turn them not just into talk, but into action, right? And so I've been thoroughly pleased with the reception.
It must have been challenging going through the thought process, the brainstorming process, pulling the coalition together and all this.
Yeah, I definitely think some people were skeptical, and some of the biggest skeptics were women, right?
Yeah, of course, because it's like,
they're like, you're about to put us through the fire, are we ready for that?
Right.
And then, we had some just amazing champion women who just came through and say, you know what, we're going to do this, and men, right, that said, no, this is necessary. And I think I always like to tell this story about how I went to focus groups where I was the only person of color that walked into the room. I was the youngest person in the room. I, was from inner city Chicago. They may have been from suburban or rural Illinois. And when I walked out of the room, what was the common thread was that women are done building taller walls. We want to build longer tables and include the voices of other women. And so when you feel that energy of action, you have to act upon it. You can't just let the time slide by and miss the opportunity. The strongest proponents for this were girls. Right. And so what I've done with a lot of these amazing women who have stepped forward in these great organizations is say, when we bring girls to the table, they're the experts. They're not, you speak so well, you're so cute. No, they're not cute. We're not going to make them infants. They are the experts. They know what they need in their schools. They know what they need in their churches and in, wherever else, the field, the soccer field, wherever they play. And we need to listen to them.
So you saw, like a surfer, right? You saw the wave. You saw the moment.
Yeah.
You know how the surfers, they time the wave and then
they feel it coming.
They feel it coming and then they ride on it.
Yeah.
That's what you did.
Yeah, and I think it just was, the atmosphere for it was really great.
Yeah.
And I also think for the people who are pushing back and saying that we don't need this council, they're going to be surprised at how we can come together. And so it's not always necessarily about proving other people wrong. It's about proving ourselves right as a community, right? That we are far more the same than we are different.
Right.
When I went to Galena, Illinois, when I went to Cahokia, when I went to Quad Cities, all the women wanted the same things: safer schools, better paying jobs, health care. They want guns off the street. So, it's we all want the same things. There's a myth being pushed out and this agenda being pushed out that we're so tribal that we don't want the same things, but that's the furthest thing from the truth.
Of course, I was going to ask you what the challenges were. So, and you already went into them. And so it's interesting that some of the challenges are coming within the women, from your camp.
It's a culture of fear.
And you have also some challenges from the side of the men?
Yeah. I think what was interesting was there were mostly male legislators. Unfortunately, most of them were conservatives who, when this went through committees, they said, well, why do transgender people need to be added in this legislation? And the truth is that when we talk about homicide rates, suicide rates, and lack of direct services, the transgender community suffers a lot. They suffer the most in many cases.
Right.
And once again, it was a situation where a man was telling a group of women who had gone out into the field, had talked to other women, no, you don't need that. This is what you need. And as I was getting that pushback, you know, people said, do you want to take this language out to make it easier to pass? And my response to that was, hell no. Like, if we leave, no one gets left behind, right? And if we continue to water down our legislation and leave pockets and groups of people behind, we lose altogether in the end. And so this was really a concerted effort by an amazing group of women who just said no woman or girl will get left behind in this bill.
It's a minute past 8 p.m. It's the 22nd of May 2018. The phone lines are open. It's 773-942-7167. 773-942-7167. If I don't know why it escapes me sometimes. If you want to ring in and ask a question, yeah, I know. I don't know.
Help him out.
I don't need to see. I know. Please ring in if you have a question or just want to say hi to Kina Collins here, or say hi to Gail, or contribute to what we're talking about. Please feel free to do so. Rebecca Muddy on Facebook says, you are a brave woman, and I love that.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, you have admirers. Hayford Nketo is also watching. Big up yourself. Regina Yao, big up. Simon Kwakume, big up, my brother. Big up yourself. And Enes Boateng Kese, Shita Muhammad, big up Muhammad. Big up my brother. Felix Boama, big up yourself.
Shout out to my sister Nikita, who's watching.
Yeah, your turn.
Hi, Nikita. Check out Just Nikita Vlogs on YouTube. It's a travel blog. It's amazing.
Okay, who else? You have a lot of siblings, so you can go ahead and give us some shout outs.
Oh, Lord. It's too many of them.
Okay.
Nikita's watching now.
All right. This is still the Progressive Mind Show, and we are talking to Kina Collins on her project, which is Chicago Neighborhood Alliance, and also Women and Girls Act Illinois. We're talking. The topic for today is dealing with the menace in our society, which is crime, gang violence in the city of Chicago. And she rightfully said that it's an issue that our community and the people, parents, and everybody has to take on, and not leave it in the hands of a few.
Right.
Okay, a few activists, and they are talking about it. They are handling it. You know. Some people are handling it, but this is our responsibility as a people. Yeah. It's our time, this generation. We have the responsibility in curbing this menace that is facing us. And if we don't do nothing about it, if you see the next man down, don't blame somebody else, because you probably didn't add your voice to a conversation, or did not pray about it, or did nothing about it. And so every effort, regardless of what it is, if it's $1 that you have to donate to WGHC to help in promoting some of these things, if it's $1 or 20 that you have to donate to her organization, or to some other organization which is dealing with crime and gang violence, this menace in our society, please go ahead. You would have helped, at least in your own way, in curbing the situation. Okay, we all can have a talk show or do what she's doing, but we can all contribute one way or the other. All right. Okay, we want to take a short musical break, and then we will continue with Kina Collins with this topic today, this evening, which is dealing with the menace in our society. Stay tuned. We shall be right back.
This is WGHC 98.3 FM.
Chicago. Join us for WGHC's first annual street festival on Saturday, May 26th, where we are promoting unity, peace, and love in a community suffering from gang violence. There's free entry, so make sure you tell a friend. There will be food, live music, a DJ spinning competition, live performances from local artists, and of course a jollof competition. Meet us there in Uptown Chicago at 4554 North Broadway from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. We encourage you to wear African attire, so come out and have fun with us.
We don't need no tribal. Not this a time, Tribal war can't solve the problem. Oh no, tribal war can't solve it at all. You hear what I say? Tribal war can't solve the problem. Tribal war can't solve it at all. Just the other day, I forward down a riverside. Now he go check Ronnie and scrub some clothes. As she spoke up her herb in her little chalk pipe, she said, sure, not even the soap nor soda again. Me God, tribal war can't solve the problem. My God, tribal war can't solve it at all. Tribal war can't solve the problem. Oh no, tribal war can't solve it at all. I want you to listen up, man. Into you, are you that wake up? The other day I saw a ladies' war. They were planning to march up to such house. Why? They say they are not getting any justice within the kitchen. So them decide to make a big war with their big spoon. Me God. I said, ladies, tell me where are you going? They said, I'm going to step up and fight for my right. Tribal war can't solve the problem. You hear? Tribal war can't solve it at all. Did you listen to me? Tribal war can't solve the problem. Tribal war can't solve it at all. Hear this. Another time I saw a youth man with an M16 just lying on his back. I say, youth man, tell me where are you going? He said, I'm going to stand up and fight for my right. You alone, tribal war can't solve the problem. Tribal war can't solve it at all. My God, tribal war can't solve the problem. Did you hear? Tribal war can't solve it at all. We should live in love. War can't do a thing. The arms of God is helpless. Fathers against sons, countries against countries. What do we need? All we need is love. Live together now. We don't need no war. Did you hear me when I
Chicago. Join us for WGHC's first annual street festival on Saturday, May 26th, where we are promoting unity, peace, and love in a community suffering from gang violence. There's free entry, so make sure you tell a friend. There will be food, live music, a DJ spinning competition, live performances from local artists, and of course a jollof competition. Meet us there in Uptown Chicago at 4554 North Broadway from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. We encourage you to wear African attire, so come out and have fun with us.
Okay, we're back on the show. If you took a coffee break, it's time. Come back. Let's continue this. We were having a very wonderful discussion whilst we were on break, and one of the things that came up is how we don't know the power we have as citizens and as a people. And maybe Kina can tell us, because I was asking, how do you write a bill? Like, sometimes you think, oh, you have to be this powerful person,
right?
And you have to have all these qualifications, you have to have all this political clout, to do some of these things. But you've written a bill to Springfield, and it's sitting in front of the governor right now.
Right.
Actually, it looks like this is a 90% has 99% chance of passing because it's passed both Senate
and the House.
And the House. So all he has to do is just put pen to paper.
That's right. He just has to sign it. I was just explaining that it's an education piece, right? And I think that, even me, I'm 27. It took me all these years to learn, what we could be teaching our teenagers in high school, right? Like we could be teaching them the importance of, it's not just about direct actions and going out and protesting, even though that has a place and it's important. But I think that there's power in having a seat at the table, building your own table, and writing legislation that is tailored to your city, your community, whether it's a city ordinance or a bill. I did have help from, like I said, other women who stepped in. My Justice Sister Maria, she definitely wrote a huge chunk of it. But as I was looking at the legislation and saw that there were things that needed to be put in, I inserted what I thought needed to be put in. I think that it also is, once again, holding elected officials accountable. So we were fortunate to have State Representative Anna Moeller from Elgin and State Senator Jacqueline Collins from South Side of Chicago carry our legislation in both the House and the Senate. And that really came from me networking with them, right? I literally just went to their office and said, "Hey, this is important to me. Would you help me with this?" And they said yes. If it's a good piece of legislation, they'll jump on.
Michelle Obama started some of these movements for women somewhat. Can you expand on some specific ones, and how do you plan on using some of the coalitions that has already been built in support of what you're doing?
Yeah, I think first it's a communication piece, right? So just getting people at the table is the first step, and also coming up with a common agenda of how you want to tackle some of these areas. But
what were some of her projects that she started?
Her projects?
Yeah, for women.
She did United State of Women.
Okay.
That's one of her initiatives. She was also a part of helping form the White House Council on Women and Girls. And I think that when we talk about women's issues, we can reach out to some of the educational initiatives she's had, like Reach Higher and Better Make Room, where
and
she's
then stopping diabetes or something for kids. Something about
that's I forgot what's in it. Let's Move.
Okay.
And then she also has Let Girls Learn. So she started several initiatives that kind of, prepped us for, initiatives that we can model after.
You think you can use her influence or what she's already started? Does she know what you're doing?
So United State of Women, which is her initiative, they are our official partners. So yes, I'm thinking, that whole, her whole team. We definitely know that the former executive director of the White House Council on Women and Girls, Tina Chin, she definitely is aware that the council is being formed, and then also pulling in people like Valerie Jarrett and other people.
Because I'm hoping that her being a Chicagoan. Yeah, I mean, through and through. Only she's not from the West Side, but I'm hoping that she would literally add her piece, her voice to your movement.
Well, we have to wait and see.
Yeah,
might be in the near future.
Yeah, maybe just
might be in the near future.
Maybe just one line of
definitely.
support.
And I always push this narrative. I love the Michelle Obamas and the Valerie Jarretts and the Tina Chins who have come in and just been warriors for women. I like them to serve a more ambassador role, right? If they are participating in this, because they're busy. They have several other projects that they're doing. They're flying across the globe. They're, doing this. I have more of an interest in cultivating relationships and rapport with women who are on the ground every day that we don't know. Nameless, faceless women who are saving our state and our country every day.
Right.
So we don't give them the accolades. And to be honest, they don't do it for the accolade. But that's what I like to focus on.
Thank you. And I love that you're focusing on that. I'm happy and I thank God for having people like you who want to focus on some of these things. What I also pray and hope that for the Michelles of the world to do is if you're from Chicago, come back home and like
support,
like help build a legacy. So this is your home. You build your home, and then you can go to the globe and do all these global projects.
Definitely.
I think, this is not saying maybe she's doing some things that I haven't seen, but on a bigger scale, like on a statewide scale, I want to see her actively involved in some of this. I want to be hearing her voice, like with some of these projects, and actively supporting some of these initiatives, groundwork initiatives. I think it will go a long way, because of the force that they have.
Yep.
You feel me?
Yeah. I mean, I think that they laid the foundation. We're picking up the torch, and yes, their voice is valuable just because they span a huger platform than we have. But I do. I like to emphasize and focus on the women
definitely.
on the ground.
I'm hoping that, and maybe they're not listening to Progressive Minds, but but my prayer and hope is that they come back, literally come back to Chicago and spend maybe a few months to say, you know what, we've heard about you guys, we've heard about Kina Collins, we've heard about all these other groundwork people who are doing stuff for the community, and we want to add our voice to what you're doing to push you up, to give you more substantial results than what you've already chalked for yourself.
Well, thank you for that prayer.
All right. Amen to that. On the note of prayers, I also want to thank God. Actually, you know what? Today it dawned on me that the Progressive Minds is already a year old. The anniversary fell last month, actually, in April. April 2017 is when I started Progressive Minds, when God gave me the vision to do this. And so today when I was coming, I'm like, wow, it's a year already. And I missed the opportunity to give God thanks and praise for the opportunity to serve his people, to serve the community, and to do what I'm doing. And so on the anniversary of the Progressive Mind Show, this wasn't planned, but, you have to do it. I just want to take one moment to thank everybody who was supported from day one. I remember Ben Akoli, wherever you are, God bless you, because you and I had the first conversation about this. You pushed me, you gave me the positive vibe. You were like, Joe, you can go for this. And my parents, my mom, my siblings, my friends, I remember Lena too. I spoke with Lena and a few people who said, you know what, you can do this. And NK, Dana Kofi Boateng, the visionary, the owner, the CEO, the founder of WGHC, he says, yo, go for it. Black Jesus, also he has a show here. My brother, who also said, Alinko, you can go, you can do this, go for it. And so I want to take the opportunity to thank you all personally from my heart, and to first of all thank God for the opportunity again, and then to thank you all listeners, everybody who joined later on the show. Lizzie, you know yourself, you also supported and the community and everybody who has been so supportive up to this point. I say thank you. I'm just a vessel in the hand of God, and I pray that he keeps giving me the direction to be able to serve. And this is a community for all of us, okay? A community for all of us. Every week, I encourage everybody to join the show so we can dialogue by dialogue, idea by idea, we can help build our society and our communities. All right? On that note, thank you so much. We'll come back to Kina for what she's been doing. Somebody will ask, women already, it seems like women in this country have power. Okay.
Do we?
Well,
I'm going to let you finish the question.
Let me finish. From an African perspective, let me put it that way. Yeah, like somehow because what we have been used to back home and what we see here is totally different. You can't speak to a woman anyhow, Yeah, you can't, touch her anyhow, Some of the little things that we take for granted back home.
Right.
Here, you know that you can't even dare.
Right.
And so, someone will say, women, and that conversation goes on in our communities, in the African communities. Women already, this country, women have power, they have say, they know their rights. So somebody will say, all right, they already have all this power and everything going on. Why another act for women and girls? Do they need any more help?
Well, because we still have a pay-wage equity gap.
Okay.
Because 62 million girls around the globe are excluded from formal forms of education. Because women suffer at the hand of gun violence the most out of any demographic. They're 5 times more likely to be shot by a domestic partner and to die. I think there are several reasons, right? And I also like to explain to people that this is not just the approach that I'm taking with the Illinois Council on Women and Girls is not just a local or statewide approach. We need to learn from the global community as well. Because if we're not speaking out about the fact that our sisters over in Palestine are fighting for liberation and freedom, then we are not fighting for women and girls' rights. If we're not fighting for our sisters in Tanzania and India for educational equity, we're missing the mark. If we're not protecting the bodies of Afghani, Pakistani, and Iraqi girls that are being harmed, then we are missing the fight, right? We're missing the mark in this fight.
Right.
And so for me, injustice for a woman or girl anywhere is an injustice for all of us. And until that's eradicated, nobody's liberated. So it doesn't, I'm so glad that you brought up the point about culture. Because culturally, I think we get in that mindset, especially in America, where it's like, well, if we're lifted up, then it's all good. And then we forget about other portions of the globe. And it's like, no, we're doing this work for eradication of, sexism as a whole. And how do we get policy, legislations, and programs to be viewed through a gender lens that it is a just and equitable society? So, I mean, people make that argument all the time that, well, women are in college and those are symbolic victories. Those are not concrete things that are moving forward and dismantling systemic sexism and some women who have to deal with sexism, racism, classism all in one, right? The intersectional approaches of discrimination. And so for me, we're far from being done. And I know that the work that we do now, I may not even see it in my lifetime. But as long as we're planting the seeds.
Well, I have a question.
Okay.
Do you finally. Do you, I know your organization probably does plan on holding workshops to help the women and girls in the community become more informed.
Right. So. Yeah, we definitely plan on hosting workshops, panels, forums, summits. I think that, and it just can't be spaces where it's all these brilliant women coming up with all these ideas. We need to include some men in those conversations to say, can you publicly commit to doing diversity and equity trainings in your corporations? Can you publicly commit to the fact that you are going to stand as an ally and get out of the way and pass the microphone to women, right? So as we're bringing these ideas forward, we want to have workshops and summits, but we also want to have real work being done in our communities and other facets as well.
So when this becomes law eventually, how does it work? So if a woman is struggling with something or going through some work issue, work abuse or domestic abuse, they can just pick up a phone and call your organization for help?
It won't quite work like that.
Okay.
But what we will do, hopefully, is work with state agencies, like I said, to look at their policies that they're putting forth through a gender lens, right? And so it's about culture shift, right? Programmatically, I think that in the long haul, that may be something that we can look into, right? Because we see through the Me Too movement, all these movements, there were just 15 employees here in Illinois who just reported McDonald's issue that was happening with sexual harassment there. In the long run, I do programmatically hopefully see that happening, but our council will be in shaping both policies and then bringing voices to the table about how do we start changing and shifting the cultures in some of these workplaces and some of the classrooms and some of the churches or, what have you that women attend and populate.
All right. We have a few people who will still join us on Facebook, so we want to give them a special recognition. Willie Ming, big up yourself. Estelle Bijou Fowu, Lako Queta, and Senna Herty are all watching us. Laurentia, my favorite lady, Laurentia Azaz. Thank you so much for joining in. She says she's enjoying the show. Flying all the way from Ghana to Maryland to say to pay a visit to your wonderful sister Christabel Belinda Azaz. Yes, I've mentioned all her name. Well, I left one, Ayipoka. And then greetings to your sister Talata. I know she's doing well in Ghana. And then La Missy Wendy. Tell La Missy I miss her so much, her and the kids. So Laurentia, thank you so much for joining us. I know you and your husband in Ghana are doing very well. If you go to Ghana and you're looking for one of the best hospitals, one of the best healthcare centers to be taken care of, you want to look up Wara Hospital.
Okay,
and she's one of the best doctors. Yeah, this lady is a very smart lady.
See, I need to have a conversation with her.
Yeah,
about the healthcare
impact
area.
Impact, yeah. I mean,
how do we expand that and include more women?
There you go. She was actually, we had a very intellectual conversation earlier in the day, and she was telling me some of the developments and some of the struggles, that they face. Also, a woman being a woman there.
Oh yeah.
So she basically touched on this point and some of the things, some of the challenges that they were facing, and some of the things that can be done to improve the healthcare system. But thankfully, she works with one that has like world-class facility. They have choppers, helicopters that fly.
So they
patients.
have the resources, but there's so many places that don't have.
They
those
don't.
resources.
Theirs is the first of its. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Theirs is. Yeah. She's in the best hospital.
What city is she in?
She's in Accra.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'll definitely hook you up.
Okay, good. And I mean, I think like women and girls are impacted in ways that we oftentimes don't think. So the AAUW did a study about student loan debt, right? Student loan debt. So whenever someone tells me there's no nonpartisan issues with this council, I say student loan debt affects everybody, right? We have $1.5 trillion in student loan debts. 2/3 of that belongs to women. And it's not because we take out more student loans. It's not because we're reckless with our money. It's because women get paid less. And so each month we have less money to pay back our interest on student loans, which causes us to take a longer time to pay our student loans back. It's simple things like that we don't think is oppressive, but when you live in the society, which we live in a capitalistic society, it hinders the mobility that you have when you are in debt, right? So I think that those were things that opened my eyes, that I didn't pay attention to before, but all of these amazing experts who are studying women and girls are saying we've been making this research and like nobody's paying attention to it. And so hopefully our council serves, like I said, as that watchdog group to start bringing that research and those voices to the forefront.
So I know this pay difference that exists between men and women at the workplace started way back before the Industrial Revolution, thereabout, because women typically at the time, the men were going to war, the women were staying at home and all that. So when they started working, there was a pay difference, and that has so the centuries have passed since then. Also decades have passed since then. So why has the scenario not changed? Obviously, we know that the times then have changed. Women are doing equal work, right?
Yeah,
like
sometimes more work.
So, exactly, right.
When you have kids, and
absolutely. No, I'm talking about in the work environment.
Right.
If I'm doing IT and I'm analyzing data,
right,
you're doing the same thing.
You're doing the same thing. Right.
If you were in the medical field, if you were a lawyer, if you were doing carpentry, plumber, janitor work, whatever it is, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Plus the extra work that you do in terms of parenting and community work. So it just doesn't add up why the law cannot be changed so you all will be paid,
I mean, that's a really good... good question, and I wish that lawmakers thought like that.
I mean, it's you should say
it's a power dynamic, right? It's the worst kind of way to oppress somebody because you're putting a dollar value on their worth, right? But like you said, they're doing the same amount of work, right?
I mean, of course, yeah. And then go home and do extra work.
Right.
I mean,
we need to shift the culture.
Yeah.
And whether that is voluntary and they want to come along, or we have to set up groups like this, we are going to do that.
You mentioned that you think that it's a way of oppression. You think that men or people intentionally want to oppress women that way?
I think
it's on purpose?
I don't necessarily know if it's on purpose all the time, but you can't say that people don't intentionally. It's just like saying some people aren't intentionally prejudiced. They are. I think that it's more of a culture that we live in, right? Where we have lifted up young men and boys and we have devalued women and girls. Okay. And it is a cycle that is being perpetuated and taught. And so we have to break that.
How is it that every year, during every election, season, this conversation comes up, right? And the politicians debate about it all the time. talk about the Hillary's, talk about the all these presidential candidates. They all talk about it, and when they come into power, I mean, Obama wrote on it, at a point when he was campaigning. So how is it that year after year they come into power, but nothing is done, even though they campaign on it? They promise they're going to do something about it, and nothing gets done. Why is it?
Well, I think it's a lack of accountability on our part as constituents. It falls back on us, right? Because we have that power of who we are electing into office at the end of the day. And actually, I attended the United States of Women Summit in California, and Mrs. Obama touched on that. What are we teaching about the value of women and girls? What are we saying to ourselves? What is the self-talk that we have when we had the most qualified candidate who was a woman and we chose this guy, right? I think it goes back to there's a culture amongst women where we're suspicious of each other and we don't think that we are capable of the job, and we have these unattainable standards that we hold to one another when you're a woman, and when we know that the bars are different. When you're a person of color, the bar is different. And so I think, once again, we need to start educating ourselves, but also putting in action, no longer just talking about how we want to make change, but actually implementing the change. And it is scary. As I touched on earlier, there were women who pushed back on me and said, this will never happen. And, it's never going to happen. And it comes with a lot of grit and bravery and understanding that, no, women have been doing this already. Now we just need to make it official. So I think it's a culture shift that needs to happen. I keep saying that, but that's really what I think needs to occur.
Because if you notice during the past elections, looks like more women actually voted for, and I may be wrong, voted for Trump than Clinton.
Well, when a lot of times when they pull that statistic, it's white women who voted mostly for Donald Trump. And I like to put that on a platform. Black women are tired of saving everybody. We have been the backbone of the Democratic Party for decades, and we haven't gotten an ounce of love or reciprocity back from any of these elected officials or candidates. There is no agenda to protect black women and girls when abuse is happening, when we are getting paid lower than even our white female counterparts, and we're doing even more work, right? Like, we are, like I said, tired of carrying that burden in generation by generation. Right. We show up to the polls. Look what happened in Alabama. Black women saved Alabama, from Roy Moore. And, now that we are a few months out, is there an agenda to address the issues of black women in Alabama?
Okay.
And that's something that they're going to have to, rectify with Doug Jones if there is not.
The phone lines are still open, 773-942-7167. With the next segment, we want to talk about the festival coming up on Saturday. So you're having an advocate for gun violence in the city of Chicago. You're also championing the cause for women. What we're doing is basically for our community. What do you think about this whole festival in the first place?
I love this. I always think it's important to bring community together. And always in a positive way, right? It's gloomy. This work is stressful at times, and what better way to bring people together than the ultimate connector is food.
Okay.
It is.
And music.
And music.
And music.
It's cross cultures. People enjoy that, and I love the idea that y'all came up with to do this festival. I think it's brilliant.
On that note, we will listen to the commercial, and then when we come back, I want to get Gail's take on our festival coming up on Saturday. You ready for me, Gail?
I guess so.
Yeah, well, you should be when we come back. All right, please stay tuned. We shall be right back.
Chicago. Join us for WGHC's first annual street festival on Saturday, May 26th, where we are promoting unity, peace, and love in a community suffering from gang violence. There's free entry, so make sure you tell a friend. There will be food, live music, a DJ spinning competition, live performances from local artists, and of course a jollof competition. Meet us there in Uptown Chicago at 4554 North Broadway from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. We encourage you to wear African attire. So come out and have fun with us.
WGHC 98.3 FM. Your voice, your music, your station. Follow us at facebook.com/WGHC 98.3 FM to watch all of our live streams. iPhone users can download our WGHC 98.3 FM app in the App Store. All other users can download the TuneIn Radio app or visit tunein.com. You can also listen by phone. Dial 1-563-999-3221. Visit our website at www.wghcfm.org.
Serious time, violence and crime, and up here gunting the youths them up on their mind. Oh, them bust it when rain a fall. You know, say them no care, them your youth bust it all when sun a shine. Oh, you know see up here juvenile. Yeah, I'ma lock the big guns out the street. Oh, where them get it from? Nobody know. The father was a killer. Oh, well, I see him so them grow. Oh, I know me can't sleep. No matter how me try to do it, me can't sleep. Up here gunshot a beat, me can't sleep. No matter how me try to do it, me can't sleep. I bear blood in the street. Them a youth on the play every single day. Them a big pan them waist, and if you talk too hard, then them shoot out the face. Tell me what I want, me a beg gonna keep it calm. Cause the real know are real, and I kick up and I go on, it's like a gun storm. Me can't sleep. No matter how me try to do it, me can't sleep. Up here gunshot a beat, me can't sleep. No matter how me try to do it, me can't sleep. Up here blood in the street. Bring back Jamaica in the time when everything was fine. All the try, some a try to show love. It seems like the rest of them blind. All rude boys, the master gun, put on the clock and the 9. Cause when you kill me, Sachina mass round and turn the whole place in a ghost sound. Me can't sleep. No matter how me try to do it, me can't sleep. Up here gunshot a beat, me can't sleep. No matter how me try to do it, me can't sleep. Up here blood in the street. That is a serious time, violence and crime, and up here gunting the youths them up on their mind. And them a bust it up. Oh, them bust it when rain a fall. You know say them no care, them your youth bust it all when sun a shine. And them a bust it up. Oh, I know me can't sleep.
All right. Roman Brego says we can't sleep when there's so much crime and violence going on in the streets, and so we can't sleep. WGAC can't sleep. We've got to do something about it, and so this Saturday, don't miss it. Gail wants to show you the flyer. There you go. If you're on Facebook, you see it live. It's the WGHC First Annual Street Festival, and it's right here in the Uptown area between Broadway and Sunnyside. No, between Wilson and Sunnyside on Broadway. 4554 North Broadway. Lots of music, food, lots of giveaways. Come with your friends and family, plenty, and come with some donation. Yeah. That's what we rely on. We are a non-for-profit organization. We are a community radio station. So we depend on your contributions and your donations to keep running. Okay. So please come to support this wonderful event, which is basically fighting and promoting WGAC and promoting peace, love, and unity in our society. We have a few minutes to wrap up tonight's conversation, and we'll go back to Kina Collins before that. Before that, you have a few compliments on Facebook that I want to read out. Johnny Wood says, let me start from the top. He says, proud of you, Kina, girl power.
Thank you.
And then he continues to say that I can see a very bright political future for Kina. Smart lady.
Woo.
Hey, go for it, man, because we will be supporting you.
Oh, thank you.
Gio's already giving you his support. So
okay,
you got his, you got me, you got Gil.
Yes, you do.
You got Johnny Woods. Look,
That's
7
all I
of us.
need.
Yeah, man. More to come. Seligbe Tomenyo is also here with us. Big up yourself. Walanyo, Charlie, I know you'll be in Chicago now, so we have to link up more. Okay, so I got you. I'll get in touch. Willie Ming is still here. Felix Buama, Shita Muhammad, my brother, what's up? Maia Elaine is just laughing. Maia is one of my favorite listeners. Thank you so much for your support, Maia, one of my favorite ladies. I respect and I really appreciate your support and your contributions all the time. Another powerful lady. You should be actually connect. I'm sure she'll try to connect with you because
let's connect.
She thinks like you.
Good.
Dr. Frazier is also here. Jumani Bates, Shanton McDonald is still logged on. Okay, so we would wrap up in a few minutes, but before we do that, again, I wanted to pick your brain, get your input on Saturday's event.
My
Gil,
input.
yeah.
Well, basically, we'd like to invite you to come out. This is our first street fair, and it's very important to us to let you know who we are and what we have to offer. And we've been here at least
16 months. We're still under 2 years.
Right, and I'm also new to the program, so we want you to come out and we get to know you and help us support the program. And again, if you like what you hear, you like what you see, please, any amount will help us. Just
That's right.
donate,
Right.
help keep us on air, and help us to keep bringing you programming that helps the community. That's what we're all about.
Maybe you can help read out the theme for the day.
Yes, our festival will be promoting unity, peace, and love in the community suffering from gang violence. But this is one day that we hope to come together and have a great time. So don't forget to come out, bring your kids, and we'll have a lot. We'll have something for everyone.
Because we have a kids spot. We have bouncy for the kids
nice.
and all that. And I think we have some...
What's that?
People who are going to the performers. So maybe we'll let Kina read out the performance. People who are going to be performing for us.
Can I say these?
Yeah,
names?
you can. Yes, you can.
Help yourself.
You haven't eaten any African food, but try it.
DJ
Andros.
Yes.
DJ Slacky J.
Yeah.
DJ Adi Coral.
Yes.
DJ Boombastic. Reek Zan. Mr. Teacher. Marco Stats. Bossman Kobe. Chef Yeboy.
Yes.
G-Note. A Goddess and the Art Beat Band. Sister Ella. DJ Sonic. Lay.
Mr. IT.
Al Yayo.
Yayo. Yes. Even me, that one is difficult. So let's keep.
Rich from the Pole, CRE, and James Cunningham. I can't wait to meet you all.
Absolutely.
And more.
And more.
Yeah, there's more coming. So don't miss out this Saturday, man. Rain or Shine is going to happen. It's going to be booyah here in the Uptown area. Let's support a worthy cause. We're promoting peace, love, and unity. We are the Positive Vibration radio station, the only African and Caribbean radio station in the city of Chicago, actually in the Midwest, the first of its kind. We're bringing positive vibration. We're bringing positive energy. Join the team, which is doing a great job. We are 24/7. You can catch us on our website, wghcfm.org. And also TuneIn app, and for iPhone users, you can download from the App Store. If you want to listen to this show again, you can visit my page on YouTube, which is my channel on YouTube, Progressive Minds WGHC. Okay, that's my YouTube channel. You can also always go on the Progressive Minds page on Facebook. You can you can play back all these past shows just in case you missed them. All right, we still want to talk about. Yep. Oh, we have a caller on the line. I'm getting signal from my producer. Caller, please tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Yeah, my name is Rebecca from Chicago.
Hello, Rebecca. Please go ahead.
I really appreciate the good work WGAC you are doing. We back you with prayers, and something good is coming out of this show. And my lady, I'm so proud of you. You have a positive mind. I will stand by you in prayers, and whatever vision you have will come out successful. Because if you're a woman, you have a positive mind, and you have compassion, you can go far. I can see that in you. So I'm encouraging you to go forward for whatever vision you have.
Thank you so much, and hopefully you'll join with me. Your voice is just as important, but I know I shape a lot of my leadership style and a lot of the work that I like to do off of strong women who have opinions about not just them, but the girls coming up behind them. So I definitely need all the encouragement I can get. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much, Rebecca, for calling and encouraging our beautiful lady here. I know there are so many ladies watching us right now and listening to us. Please give her, you can call and support her. Like I said, it's not necessarily doing like publicly coming out and getting out of your comfort zone to do stuff. Little things like giving a call, a text, hey, yo, I think you're doing a great job. Things like this go a long way.
Definitely do.
So call now, 773-942-7167. We have a few minutes to wrap up and encourage the young lady. She's fighting for women and girls in the state of Illinois. All right. Very soon, when this act passes, it's going to be a monumental act.
It'll be historic for the state of Illinois.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
And it's a lady from the minority community.
Yeah.
You were not born with a silver spoon in your mouth,
Exactly.
like you say. Your father is not this big politicians or some of these rich people.
Definitely not.
I'm sure, you come from a modest family,
Yeah.
Went to school on the west side of Chicago, did now move to a rich suburb to try to go to school, to try to go to a private school, but having this vision for look, I applaud what you're doing.
Thank you.
WGAC applauds what you're doing. The whole team here.
Absolutely.
Gail's actually, nodding her head.
Yeah.
Go ahead and tell her what you feel about her.
Well, I am totally impressed with everything you're doing, and I do hope to help you out. I'll definitely volunteer, help you with whatever you're trying to do.
Thank you.
Because it is she has done so much work. She's only touched on a little bit of what she's done. She's traveled all over and gained support, and it is what she's done is not a small thing.
Thank you.
And she's only talked about a little bit, and it took a lot of time, a lot of effort, and a lot of hours. So I am very, very proud of you.
Yeah. And anybody who's watching, if you have a young girl, and particularly, like you said, communities of color, this last Illinois primary really just kind of shook me up, and I didn't really want to touch politics, after seeing just the governor's race and everything that happened with that, I was like, I'm ready to give up. But there were so many people in the community who were encouraging me to go forward and do the work. And so, it's like I feel obligated, and I was born on International Women's Day, so I have March 8th is my birthday.
Okay,
it's like I have no choice. I have a burden to do this.
Okay. I just got word from DJ Kina that he actually wants to be part of the show, of the event on Saturday.
Okay.
He's asking if it's too late for him to join the DJs. Okay. The man in charge says he will talk to you later, but definitely you will never late for any WGAC event. Okay,
but still come and invite your friends.
Yes. He's traveled outside the state, and so because of this, but he wants to be part of it. So yeah, DJ Kina, the man here says he will talk to you. Definitely, you will not be left out. Again, for WGAC events, nobody's late. It's a community thing. Nobody comes late. Nobody comes hungry. We make sure we feed y'all, okay? All right. There'll be vendors too, selling art crafts and artifacts and all that. So, bring some money and help small businesses, make money. Yeah. Restaurants, small restaurants.
That's a good point.
Yeah, man. Make some money. Maia says, I fully support you, Alinko. Kina, I look forward to connecting. So much amazing groundwork being done and elevating faces that are not seen or heard.
Oh, thank you.
So you're getting a lot of love today. Samela Rogers says, great show. Thank you so much. And Christina Dukes also joined us. She says, great topic. Thank you, Christina Dukes. Also another wonderful lady who might be joining us sometime. If again, I'm encouraging all the ladies to call her now. Okay, we have 5 minutes. Call her right now and give her big ups. All right, because this lady has done a lot. Like she said, I wonder, how do you get funding, like help,
with the council?
Okay.
It just, if it does become a advisory council, they'll help with some administrative costs and stuff. But it really was community effort. We didn't get any funding, anything. We did this all out of pocket, just traveling across the state, forming groups, sitting with women, just out of our pocket. Yeah,
traveling all over the state, just
yes.
Oh my gosh.
He looks so shocked.
Yeah, man.
But you know what
I can see the dollar signs.
What she has? She has more human capital than we have. We only have like a couple people, and she has a very.
I did have a lot of women step in and say, "I'll host," and things like that.
Okay.
But for me, it wasn't really about the money, and I think we touched on this in the beginning. And this is why you should support this radio station, because a lot of what you're doing is out of pocket, just out of the passion to do it. And so you need the support. And it's when the community shows up that great things happen. So.
Again, we're calling on the community, so we have 5 minutes to wrap up. Let's talk about the festival. I'm very passionate. I'm very excited. Hey, Joe, what's up, man? Joe, you have the mic. Tell us what you're expecting on Saturday.
Oh, you're putting me on the mic tonight.
Yes.
Saturday's gonna be great. It's gonna be, I think, it's like supposed to be 90 degrees, so it's gonna be nice out. It won't be gloomy. It won't be cold. That's what it said when I looked. Yeah. And we just got a jam-packed lineup of local Afro artists, hip-hop artists. We got jazz bands, reggae bands, DJs, Nigerian, Ghanaian, Jamaican, everything. We got all the bases covered. We're going to have Grace African Restaurant out here. We're going to have Yanze from down the street, both local spots right outside the studio. And then we got places coming all the way from the south side up. We'll have Harold's food truck out here. So
nice. Harold.
Yeah,
Harold's,
so you know where the Harold's truck is at. It's gonna be a good time.
Yeah. All right. That's So these are the reasons why you can meet Saturday. Somebody's traveled. The person's not here, but they actually make it plans to come because they don't want to miss it. It's the first one. You want to be part of this history. Yeah. She's making history. We're making history. Hey, this room is full of history makers. Your last words, my lady, and then Gail, you close it up for us. But yeah, you first.
Yeah, I just want to thank everybody for inviting me to share on your platform. This is absolutely beautiful what you're doing, and I think that it's the right timing, right, in the right season to do this. People are trying to get their opinions and their voices heard, and what better way to do that than through, first of all, the Caribbean and Afro-Caribbean community in Chicago. Like, y'all are lit. Like, Chicago would not have its vibrancy if it wasn't for a lot of the immigrant communities who have come in and just given us flavor and color and style. And you just work so hard and represent your community and your country as well as this one.
Right.
And so I'm glad to be in the atmosphere of this, and I'm just looking forward to building the relationship in any way that I can help. I'm here.
Brilliant.
Yep.
Gil, your last words for us today?
Well, I'd just like to thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having this great program. I think I've only been here a couple of weeks, and you've had some really impressive guests here, and they've come in, they've been very personable, and they've been very knowledgeable, and thank you. I'm happy to be a part of the program.
You're welcome. You know what we missed? We didn't talk about your working with Governor Pritzker and then leaving his campaign.
We didn't. What do you want to talk about? The last 2 minutes.
Well, we can't go into but I think what the hope is to get him here. I mean, you know he's running, obviously. So we hopefully we might get him here, and definitely we'll get you here before he comes here. And so that is another opportunity to talk about what happened because you were working with his campaign, right?
Yeah, I was working on his campaign.
We were working, and then you had to leave because of some issues.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. We didn't have time to go into it, but thank
That's
you all.
for another show.
Yes. All right. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Gail. Thank you again, Kina Collins, the CEO and founder of Chicago Neighborhood Alliance, and also the chairwoman for women and Girls Act Illinois, the state of Illinois. Powerful lady here. We know that your future is bright.
Thank you.
We thank you all for making this show a success. You can't miss coming Saturday. All right, make it a point. Bring a lot of money to support this event. Bring your family, bring your friends, and let's make. Don't actually. Gio says donate right now.
Donate right now.
Okay, go on our website wghcfm.org. You have. Right now, you even have options to choose anything, to choose any show, any of your favorite show. If Progressive Minds is your favorite show, please do, and I'm hoping that is your favorite show. So choose that and make a donation to it. But the most important thing is that go on our website, wghcfm.org, and make a donation to us. You can also subscribe to make a monthly or yearly contribution to us. And we are a 501c3 organization. So everything you give us is tax deductible. Apart from that, God will also bless you. Mm-hmm. All right? You don't only get blessings when you go to church or when you give to WGAC, God blesses you too. All right? Remember that to whom much is given, much, before I sign up, I again want to give a special welcome and greetings to Laurentia Azaz, all the way from Ghana. God bless you for coming to visit us. God bless you and your family, your husband, your sisters, Christabel Azaz, Talata Azaz, Wendy Azaz, who's in Ghana. Love your family so much. And your brother, actually, Andy. I remember Andy too. God bless them all. I will be speaking with you shortly. Maya, Rebecca, Selassie, and all of you, Empress, Mausi, Regina, Akwesi, Binimo, Hayford, Into, Regina, Yawabing, all of you who joined us on Facebook, and folks who are watching us, who are listening to us on the TuneIn app or on your dial or via the website. All of you, I say God bless you. Next week, again, will be a different and a very important discussion here on the Progressive Mind Show at WGAC. Stay tuned. We are 24/7, so you can always reach out to us and also listen to our station. Again, God bless you. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
No go so. From you never lie with another man in a bed. Tell them it's a nothing no go so. And you never sex a girl when she on a cold bread. Tell them it's a nothing no go so. And you never feel a shoulder muscle with your third leg. Tell them it's a nothing no go so. No girl never kiss him after she don't give you head. Tell them it's a nothing no go so. Well in a bed with man and woman should have hug and caress. To fire upon the people where they with the same sex. No matter how you honey and no matter how you desk. No girl no fi use your cocky as no cortex. Much less fi have to chance to check your one to get a fix. Them won't go through the buck up when you have to take a piss. And you know one no girl fi come and kiss you on your lips. After she tongue did a lip below your hip. No you never tell your friend to save yourself from the feds. Tell them it's a nothing no go so. And when your bus are full of rocks, it full of copper and lead. Tell them it's a nothing no go so. No boy never make you slurping where you rest your head. Tell them it's a nothing no go so. And them never put the feet join no gang and pledge. Tell them it's a nothing no go so. Where from you never inform, make no price on your wet. Your friend them no vex with you and want you dead. You know waste out your chat to paint the town red. Cause when you bust it up I feel make Babylon flip. You have your one of mine and you no quick to follow bread. Figure wear a color kerchief and tie up your head. You got for your yard cause that's where you were dead. And them can't run you from where you're born and bred. You have a ganja man and you wanna cook it. Tell them nothing no go so. You never buy a bag of Cersei and think a lamb spread. Tell them it's a nothing no go so. And you no smoke with the joke, I fig it a higher med. Tell them it's a nothing no go so. And you respect